The county's dispatch system says the crash was reported at 1:41 a.m. The woman whose phone number appears on that report did not dial 911 until 2:04 a.m., 23 minutes later. And before she ever touched her phone, every patrol officer near the county evidence annex had already been sent 18 miles away. This is the last broadcast files. I was brought in 3 days after the break-in, not because investigators were confused about what had been stolen. They already knew. One sealed evidence container was missing from Rack C inside the county evidence annex. Nothing beside it had been moved. The office computers were untouched. A cash box in the administrative room was still locked. Whoever entered the building had come for one thing. The rear service door had opened while nearly every patrol unit in that part of the county was somewhere else. That wasn't a coincidence. Minutes earlier, 4 nearby officers had been dispatched to what sounded like a serious crash on County Road 14. The caller reported that a vehicle had gone through a guardrail near an old quarry access road. There might be people trapped. Night staffing was thin. One deputy left the county center. Another abandoned a traffic stop. 2 others approached from neighboring sectors. Within minutes, the area surrounding the evidence annex had almost no patrol coverage. Their dashcams showed what they found 18 miles away. Nothing. No damaged vehicle. No debris. No skid marks. No broken guardrail. One deputy drove slowly along the shoulder, sweeping his spotlight through the ditch. Another walked partway down the gravel access road. There was no car. There were no injured passengers. There wasn't even evidence that a crash had happened. The deputies assumed the caller had given the wrong location. One of them asked dispatch to call the person back. They couldn't. 3 days later, I opened the computer-aided dispatch record. The incident had been created at 1:41 a.m. The caller field contained a real phone number. It belonged to a woman named Erin Vale, so I requested Erin's carrier records. That was when the case stopped making sense. Her phone had contacted 911 that night, but her call connected at 2:04 a.m., 23 minutes after the county had already created the emergency. There was no earlier attempt from her phone, no dropped connection, no failed emergency call, nothing. My first assumption was a clock error. I spent most of that morning trying to prove it. Different county systems use different hardware, and time synchronization problems happen. So we compared Erin's records with several other emergency calls handled during the same period. Every other call lined up. Only one emergency appeared in the dispatch system before the telephone call that supposedly created it. The crash on County Road 14. Then we interviewed the dispatchers. 3 people remembered handling some part of the incident. Their memories didn't match. One remembered a frightened woman. Another thought the voice had been lower, possibly male, and strangely calm. The third couldn't remember anyone speaking. He remembered road noise. Then a location appearing on his screen. The call had been brief. They had handled other emergencies before and after it, so we didn't treat their memories as evidence. Instead, we pulled the original recording. It lasted 36 seconds. At first, there was only a low rushing sound. Then a woman spoke. County 14, past the quarry road. A car went over the side. The dispatcher asked if anyone was injured. The woman never answered. The rushing continued. Then the recording ended. The disagreement between the dispatchers suddenly mattered much less, because the real problem wasn't who they remembered hearing. It was how that recording had reached them. A genuine 911 call should have left 2 records. One inside the dispatch software. Another inside the telephone equipment that actually received the incoming call. The dispatch record existed. The telephone record did not. According to the county's phone system, nobody had called. Yet the dispatcher heard audio. A location appeared. An incident opened, and officers were sent 18 miles away. The audio lab found the next clue. Beneath the supposed roadside noise was a faint electrical hum. It stayed constant throughout the entire recording. Technicians collected comparison samples from inside the communications building. Behind the dispatch consoles were backup power units and older network equipment. Together, they produced a distinctive low-frequency pattern. That same pattern was underneath the emergency recording. The audio had not been recorded beside County Road 14. At least part of it had been recorded inside the dispatch center. Across the hall from the active consoles was a small training room. New dispatchers practiced there before handling real emergencies. The training simulator could generate fake calls, fake caller information, fake locations, pre-recorded audio. Normally, nothing created inside the training environment could reach a real dispatcher, but investigators found an exception. During backup system drills, supervisors could temporarily connect the simulator to the live dispatch queue. The system log showed that someone had activated that connection moments before the false crash appeared. We recreated what happened. Someone loaded a pre-recorded emergency. They entered County Road 14 as the location. Then, they pushed the simulation into the live queue. To the dispatcher receiving it, the fake emergency looked almost identical to a real call. That explained how the crash appeared in the system. It did not explain Erin Vale, because Erin really did call 911. We listened to her recording next. This time, everything existed exactly where it should. A carrier record, a telephone system entry, a cellular location, her voice. Erin told the dispatcher she had been asked to relay information about a crash near the quarry road. The dispatcher checked the screen and found an incident already active at that location. Instead of creating another one, she added Erin's phone number to the existing report. And with that single action, the false emergency gained something it hadn't had before. A real caller, a real telephone record, a real wireless location. Anyone investigating afterward would see all three connected to the crash. They would have to look closely at the order of events to notice the problem. Erin had never been near County Road 14. She had been home. A few minutes before she dialed 911, someone called her. The man said he worked for the county road department. He told her a road crew had discovered a vehicle over a guardrail but couldn't reach emergency dispatch. He gave her the location. He described the crash. Then he told her, "Please call 911 and repeat exactly what I just told you." Erin did. She thought someone might be dying. When investigators explained that there had never been a crash, she asked us to play her 911 call again. Halfway through it, she told us to stop. Then she looked at the incident report. How did he know my call would make the first one look real? Nobody answered, because that was exactly what her call had done. By the time Erin contacted 911, the officers were already at the false crash scene. Her call had not been needed to move them. It had another purpose: to manufacture evidence after the fact. Whoever planned the break-in expected someone to examine the emergency call later. They expected investigators to check the caller, the phone company, the location data. So they gave them exactly what they expected to find: a real woman, a real phone, a real call. Just 23 minutes too late. We reconstructed the sequence without the computer timestamps. First, someone inside the communication system connected the training simulator to the live dispatch network. The fake crash entered the emergency queue. Officers were sent toward County Road 14. Once the patrol area around the annex was clear, someone opened the building's rear service door. A single evidence container was removed. Then Erin received the call asking her to report the same non-existent crash. She contacted 911. Her legitimate phone information was added to the incident that already existed. The operation was almost complete. Then investigators discovered one more thing. The training simulator had not been activated remotely. The command came from a workstation inside the training room itself. Whoever created the emergency had been physically inside the secure communications area. The training room was only a few steps from the active dispatch consoles. While officers were driving toward an accident that didn't exist, the person responsible may have been standing close enough to hear the dispatchers talking about it. We reviewed building access. No unknown visitor had entered the secured area. No outside technician was signed in. Everyone inside belonged there. At the evidence annex, the same precision was obvious. Hundreds of containers remained untouched. Only one was missing. Its shelf position could not be seen from the entrance. Whoever entered knew which rack to approach, which container to remove, and that no patrol officer nearby would interrupt them. By then, we could explain almost everything. The crash never happened. The first 911 call wasn't actually a telephone call. It was a pre-recorded simulation inserted into the live emergency system. The remote road had been chosen because officers would need time to reach it, search it, and confirm there was nothing there. Then, a real civilian was manipulated into reporting the same crash. Her genuine phone records made the earlier fake emergency look legitimate. What we could not explain was who had done it. The county checked the account used to access the training system. It was a shared communications training login. Supervisors knew the password. Trainers knew it. Technical staff knew it. In total, 19 employees had access. The software did not record which person had been sitting at the workstation. Hallway footage showed employees moving normally through the communications area. Nobody entered who wasn't supposed to be there, and nobody admitted opening the simulator. The final investigation identified the method. It reconstructed the false emergency. It showed why the officers had been moved. It explained why Erin's phone number appeared on a call created before she dialed. And it identified the room where the fake emergency originated. What it never identified was the person sitting inside that room. Investigators kept a copy of the original 36-second recording with the case file. By then, the supposed road noise had been separated from the electrical hum beneath it. And once you knew where that hum came from, the recording sounded different, because the faint noise underneath the woman's voice wasn't coming from an empty road 18 miles away. It was coming from inside the dispatch building, only a few steps from the people answering the call.